A local family making an appeal as their son recovers from a violent attack. That story straight ahead.
A local ministry that has been assisting young men for the past 15 years is now asking for your support. That feature straight ahead.
The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping news, a Grand Bahama family who was recently touched by violence is speaking out tonight and appealing for peace. Sabrina Brown has that story.
Flanked by his parents Emil and Jessica Jared and youth leaders Darren Roll and Dudley Said, 19-year-old Emil Jared Jr., who was violently attacked while in the Port Lucaya marketplace on Labor Day, says he's grateful to be alive. His father Emil Sr., recounting the dreadful incident, says his son was beaten by a group of young men and just when he thought it was over,
the attacker came back with a very sharp instrument and cut him from the center of his head, fractured the skull, going straight through the eyeball, cutting the eyelid and down to his cheek, and right in Port Lucaya Square. And there's blood all over. Tourists were running for their lives. They didn't know what was happening, and fortunately we were able to, the EMS got there and was able to stop the bleeding. And
Emil Sr. says they immediately made a decision to have their son airlifted to Florida for further medical care.
They performed a 5-hour surgery on his eye and on his hand. His fingers were almost cut off. He had deep lacerations to his finger. They had to sew up the tendons. They had to sew up the very eyeball. And he has several other surgeries, and he's traveling again this week for follow-up treatment for the next 6 months. And hopefully, we're hoping that he'll save his eye.
He and his wife Jessica are calling for an end to the senseless violent acts, and they're appealing to the victim and those who may know of his whereabouts to do the right thing.
We're asking whether it's the parents or friends of the person, the attacker, to let him come in so that the law can take its course.
If you're going to go out there and do wrong, there are always consequences for your action, whether it is good or bad. There are always going to be consequences. So at the end of the day, you have to make the right choices for your life. And today is my son, but tomorrow it might be your son.
The victim, Emil Jr., who recently came home from college for summer break, says his recovery is nothing short of a miracle.
I want to give God thanks because there's many that got hit, like I got hit, and they didn't make it. So I just want to thank God for that. I also want to extend my thankfulness and my gratefulness to the community. They've shown their love. They've offered up their prayers.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Two prominent youth leaders on Grand Bahama are also calling for an end to the violence among young people. Director of the Falcons Boys Club, Darren Roll, is hoping for a peaceful resolution in Jared's matter.
To help any young man in the community of Grand Bahama that is looking for someone to be able to talk to, someone to be able to guide them. And again, I am thankful to God that Mr. Jared's son did not lose his life. For those of us who've had an opportunity to actually see the graphic picture of his face posted across the internet, we are thankful to God that the persons at Bascom Palmer, where he went in the United States of America, was able to help sustain him where he is thus far. We pray for his continued healing.
Founder of Reach Out Youth Ministry Dudley Said, who was once a victim of crime, says he was stabbed 7 times and shot once. He says having turned his life around, he knows that forgiveness is key.
Jared family is here today to say that they forgive their young man. And I think that's the reason why they asked us to be here today, to tell the young man, you made a bad choice, but today we come here in forgiveness to ask you, to think. You might be in your quiet place right now. Pray and ask God to give you strength to turn yourself in. If you need someone to help you to turn yourself in, you could call me, and I'll go with you to the police station.
Now, police on Grand Bahama are searching for Harris Osley Martinez, age 20, of West End and Holmes Rock, Grand Bahama, who is wanted for causing grievous harm. He stands at 5 feet 11 inches tall, slim-built, with a light brown complexion. He was last seen at the Port Lucaya Marketplace and is considered extremely dangerous and is to be approached with extreme caution. If seen, you are to contact the police at the Central Detective Unit at telephone numbers 350-3089, 350-3109, or 1-911-919, or call your nearest police station. A resident of Churchill Road, South Bahama, hauled before the court today on 2 counts of attempted murder. 26-year-old Cordero Wilmot appearing before Magistrate Debbie Ferguson. He was not required to enter a plea and was remanded to prison. A preliminary inquiry into the matter will commence on July 9th. The charges are in connection with 2 shooting incidents that occurred in the Garden Villas area on Saturday, June 7th. In the first incident, a man was shot in the leg. The other victim sustained a gunshot wound to the stomach. Wilmot was represented by attorney Simeon Brown. A local organization has been helping young men from various islands around the Bahamas for the past 15 years. The House of Hoops and Dreams Ministry assists young men in reaching their dreams through the avenue of sports. And tonight, the president is sharing her story of giving back. President of the House of Hoops and Dreams, Bonnie Baston, has opened her home to young men across the Bahamas in order to help them reach their academic and athletic goals. She says her goal is to nurture young athletes as they become men of integrity who value spiritual, mental, and physical growth.
Provide a home environment that nurtures the academic and athletic needs of the boys as they complete high school and work towards fulfilling their dreams. The hoops our boys face are not only in basketball and athletics, but also in the challenging hoops they face as they rise above disadvantages and hope to reach their full potential. We are developing the next generation of honorable leaders, stewards of faith, lifelong leaders, and active members in this society.
While many young men often fall to peer pressure in society, Baston says she constantly reminds her boys to put God first, focus on their future, and always work hard to achieve their goals. She says for many, this opportunity is a major break.
A lot of the boys before they came, when they came to me initially, never dreamt of going to college, never dreamt of playing basketball or running track and field before a large audience and a large crowd. And just to have the opportunity to go off to school and play at another level and participate in track and field or whatever sport they desire at another level is a big accomplishment for the boys.
Jay Philippe, whom once lived with Baston, now has his master's degree and helps to mentor young men on the island. He says Baston's ministry played a great factor in reaching his goals.
It's been perhaps the best transition I've made so far in my 26 years coming to Grand Bahama from Nassau. I'm having a broader perspective on life and meeting new friends and coaches, just building friendships, most importantly, and trying to get me to where I'm trying to go.
Baston says she has had many success stories over the years and is most proud when she sees her boys not only reach their goals, but sow back into the community.
It's all about giving back, and I've learned that from being around Bonnie Baston. She's given a tremendous amount of help to others, including myself, and I was able to pick up those traits from her and be able to transform them in my own way and be able to help others in any way possible.
It is truly gratifying. There are a lot of hoops along the way, but it's truly gratifying that when I see young boys that thought that they wouldn't even graduate from high school are actually in college, the first boy in their family, the first member of their family to actually go to college and to go on college on a scholarship. You know, that's the gratifying part of it. And also to see when they come back and they sow back into this ministry, the same ministry that they grew up in.
Bonnie says she gives all credit to God for the success over the years, along with the church, Sunland School, and community members. Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, continues after this.
bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. If you need a passport to travel this summer, you could be facing a delay. Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, alerting the public that the waiting time is an average of 6 weeks from application to delivery. He says a combination of factors account for this delay, including the ongoing rush for citizens to replace their handwritten passports with electric passports, which is mandated by an international agreement, and the expected summer travel rush. Minister Mitchell says he has met with the management of the passport office and are making several attempts to ease the situation. If passports are required on an emergency basis, including health reasons, there is a procedure to deal with such genuine emergencies. Meantime, Mitchell says the Minister for the Public Service has agreed to enable officers from across the service to join the passport office for this period and to assist in the creation of a 2-shift system to speed up the process. Now, she is considered the haute couture designer of the Caribbean. Born right here on Grand Bahama, this young woman has international acclaim for her ultra-exclusive handbag collection. Tonight, we'll meet this young Bahamian who has her eyes set on capturing the global market. Natalie Martinborough reports.
I use exotic leathers only, so python, ostrich, crocodile, and alligator, and I also like diamonds, so that's a little, treat from the Middle East that I picked up.
Gabriella Wimmer is a Bahamian designer whose glamorous luxury handbags are recognized around the world. Her mother, a member of the handicraft industry from Grand Key, Abaco, and her father comes from a family of artists from Austria. While working as a consultant with the governments of Jordan and Saudi Arabia, Gabriella found her niche in the design business.
3 years ago, I go on vacation to the south of Spain, and at that point, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the south of Spain, but there's a lot of cattle, which means there's a lot of leather and a lot of leather products. So as I'm going in and out, of shops in the south of Spain, I see the artisans, I smell the leather, and all of a sudden, this dream that I had actually pursued 10 years ago just completely reignites. And at that point, I realized, I have to do this.
A lot has happened since then. From idea to creation, her handbags, she says, are a reflection of all her experiences and a reflection of her soul.
So every single bag that I created, that has been made, every little detail from the outside, from the inside, to the metal pieces, to the leather, everything I've thought about. Because it's one of those cathartic processes where you sit and you consider. And I don't just jump into it. It takes a long time. It takes me a few months. I mean, as you know, the last 3 years, it was a matter of fine-tuning, fine-tuning, fine-tuning. I have hundreds of designs, but only 11 silhouettes made it into my collection.
Her symphony of jewelry handbags are handicrafted in Italy using exotic leather. From the Imperial Garden, the Contessa Clutch, Marquis Large and Small, the Royal Collection, and the Diamond Skin, these bags range from $5,000 to $30,000. The most expensive, of course, the Diamond Skin, made from ostrich skin and decorated with diamonds.
I have 11 silhouettes. It means I also have quite a breadth. So I have for, the socialite, I have for the businesswoman, I have for the woman who needs something just to grab and go, the woman who's about to get on her jet and go. I mean, really, I'm designing for the modern woman, the feminine seductress, who can be very professional and business-like, who also has her casual side.
This international designer says her handbags are made for the modern woman and could transfer from day to night.
Now being back in the Bahamas, I mean, I definitely would love to work with a lot of the women here because I know that there are lots of stylish women. Trust me, I know. I've seen the pictures, I've seen them. They're absolutely gorgeous. And, maybe working on some sort of collaborations as well to sort of build up the Bahamas.
Natalie Martinborough, ZNS Network News.
Tourism stakeholders on Grand Bahama are teaming up to teach the next generation of frontline workers the importance of quality service in the tourism industry. Partners recently rolled out its junior tourism program. Joan Davis-Frohl reports.
Grand Bahama can now boast about its latest group of young tourism ambassadors. The group, made up of students from Genesis Academy and Pace School for Girls, were awarded certificates confirming their training and completion of the special junior tourism program. Guest speaker for the event, veteran hotelier Magnus Engelbach, shared his personal journey of success.
I was not the brightest of students when I went to school. I had problems graduating. I had to retake some classes. I had to go to summer school. I had some issues when I was a young man. And I found myself growing up in a small little community in Sweden, and I found myself being interested in the service profession. And I started as a dishwasher. I started as a dishwasher in a restaurant, working part-time when I was 16, 17 years old. Then I was lucky, I finished school eventually, I went and did my military service, and then I realized, wow, I like this thing working in the hospitality field. And I have worked as a waiter, I have worked as a housekeeper. I then, after a few years, went and furthered my education in the hotel management field. I left Sweden. I started working first in Switzerland, then in England. Then I lived in St. Lucia for 10 years and ended up coming to the Bahamas now 9 years ago.
The former executive of the Grand Bahama Island Tourism Board told youngsters that when it comes to the hospitality industry, the opportunities are endless.
I want you to realize that there are great opportunities for everyone to succeed in the hospitality industry. And it is a profession where you need to know the basics. You need to learn from the beginning, and that's what we have tried to do with our junior hotel program.
Principal of PACE, an institution for teen mothers, says she's thrilled that the youngsters were afforded such a golden opportunity.
We've had various speakers come over the 10 weeks and speak to the girls and the boys regarding being good tourists, or treating our tourists well, and being good promoters of the Bahamas.
Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. Ricardo Lightborn comes up next with sports.
Everybody, welcome to Sports with Ricardo Lightborn. Sports tonight. This one goes out to Damon Forbes and Sheila Marshall. They're down in Georgetown, Exuma. They understand that he lost to them. The LA Laker fans are simply wondering when are they going to get to the dance. But like you know how that is. Texas Ranger, you are the one, buddy. Well, the Rising Stars Girls Softball Program gotten the attention of the Bahamas International and other sponsors here on the island for good reason. It's called Girls Development. The Rising Stars Girls Softball Program is a Saturday fixture on the diamond of the GB Sports Complex. Batting practice took priority on Saturday. Coach Larissa Lockhart coordinating the session. It's important that softball players get the fundamentals down, and that is hitting, fielding, and also throwing.
This program consists of girls from age 7 to 17, teaching them the basic fundamentals of softball, because we find here in Grand Bahama that they have the ability to play the game, but they lack that fundamental skill for the game, and they lack game knowledge. So what we do here is we teach the basic fundamental, and we try to give them a little bit more game knowledge to go with those skills. We also try to expose them as much as possible.
The girls program was wrapped up in the legacy program, and the move to venture out simply has been beneficial.
The whole key here is gaining an education from the skill that you've been taught, or I'd say the talent that you were given. You use that talent to get an education and to become a productive citizen.
How does Grand Bahama help you guys continue this program?
We've been getting a lot of corporate sponsors, and they've been quite receptive. Once we were able to, because we were with the baseball program, but what we found that being attached to the baseball program, a lot of the attention was given to the boys, and we've always had that problem where the girls weren't getting the attention. So once we became detached from baseball, we now starting to get the attention needed and getting the corporate sponsorship needed.
The team will travel to Eleuthera this weekend for tournament play. The summer select team will also be going to camp.
We try to give them a little bit more game knowledge to go with those skills. We also try to expose them as much as possible. So every year we play in a tournament somewhere within the Bahamas, and then we take a selected crew to an elite tournament clinic in Florida, where we have college coaches present, because what we find that they want to track them now from age 12. And so with that being known, we tend to take those kids that we considered advanced. And so they go and they're tracked from that age, and then by the time they get into senior high and grade 12, they're now prime for a coach to see them.
Okay, it's called batting practice, and I couldn't resist the swing at bat. Okay, it's called batting practice. Yep, it's batting practice. Well, the Grand Bahama Little League season came to a close at the weekend, folks. In the big league affair, the BAC Tigers defeated the Coca-Cola 9-6 to win that series 2-1. Pelican Bay Flyers won the minor division title with an 8-4 win over the Polymers Lions, and they won the series 2-1. And the Major League Championship, the BAC Tigers defeated the Pelican Bay Flyers 8-5. The Tigers won the series 2-1. Still waiting to see if we can get a hold of the Legacy Baseball Finals so we can tell you what happened to that as well. Hoyt's Labor Day basketball tournament, as in history books, folks. The tournament was played over 4 days with the Showtime dominating the event this year. Well, Hoyt's founder, that is none other than Coach Gladstone McPhee, said that the response to this year's tournament was incredible.
We had a tremendous turnout. The play was excellent. This is the first time we had a girls' championship, and we had one group, Showtime, who went away with 6 of the 7 division out of New Providence. So Abaco went home with only a silver medal this year, and it just goes to show that each year somebody else is coming to take over as champion.
Well, folks, the Grand Bahama Power Company put their stamp of approval on the tournament, and Coach McPhee applauded the parents also for supporting the event.
Say thank you to the parents who give their children the support that they needed. This is the best support that we had from parents within Grand Bahama for a very long time. Thank you to them, and I just can't stop thanking Sarah McDonald, Felcher Grant, and the crew for coming on board and taking this tournament over as the chief sponsor.
And I got to say to Lambert, Texas Ranger, Ellie, as well as Lofton Lightborn, you guys are the true Spurs fans. But guys like my brother-in-law, Reggie Dean, buried the heat today, brought the casket out, buried LeBron. I feel you, my brother. I feel you, but the LA Lakers time coming. That's it for sports tonight.